Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday with me, Ryan, aka Stifu Messiah. This is a weekly show which covers all from the world of Star Citizen over the past week. Links are provided in the description if you would like to check out anything I mention in more detail. So let's get on with the show. So in this week's show we have 10 more questions answered by the man himself, Chris Roberts, around the version number 16, 2 new patches, plus the September monthly report. Well, it's going to be a long one. So, on 10 for the chairman, there were some lovely questions as always. The first one was whether or not a procedurally generated map will be persistent for everyone, or if it will just be the person who's discovered it. And the answer is it will be the same for everyone. As soon as it's been discovered, what it'll do, the procedural generation will create a seed. Like on Minecraft, it'll create a seed, and then that will be persistent from then on. So he did say that some levels will be procedurally generated completely, and others will be completely designed, but there will be a mixture of the two as well. So a level that has been procedurally generated, then designers will go in afterwards and probably build up things and structures for people to explore. So question 2 was about non-playable character or NPC management, and can we get them to drive our ships to a destination while we stay planet-side? And he did say that you can manage them. He mentioned that he's not sure to what depth you can manage them. So basics will be attack my target, form on my wing, retreat. You know, you can issue them commands like that, or you can get them to escort you as you're travelling in like a fighter. He did mention that you should be able to hire them to take cargo from A to B, hopefully while you are planet side, because that would be very nice. A nice touch that will saves you having to do all the jobs. You can outsource jobs, can't you, to NPCs? That would be a very good way of making money, actually. So the question after that was about whether or not we can rent our ships to other players, and if so, will the insurance cover this if it gets destroyed? Now the answer is yes, you can lend them to ships, to players, sorry, and he says that he would assume that you could create some sort of payment system where they would pay you money, maybe UEE credits through the system itself. I mean, it's going to be like a real living type of world, so I assume there will be a payment to each other system. So if you wanted to say, take the ship, give me 300 UEE credits, they can do that, you know. So technically, well, basically yes. And also your hull will be insured, but not obviously your upgrades and stuff. It's only your hull that gets insured. Same with the LTI, it's only the hull. So next question was about whether or not there'll be a ship training school for new players. And Chris Roberts says that basically the Squadron 42 single player game will generally act as training, where it'll teach you how to, you know, the management of your ship systems, or maybe doing manoeuvres with crews and things. But he did mention that obviously people may not want to play through that. I can't understand why you wouldn't, but he understands that some people would just want to jump straight into the persistent universe. And if you do that, then Arena Commander will generally act as a training mode. So it's supposed to be an in-fiction arcade game where you can jump in and fight against other people. So that would act as your training. So you would use that to get better. They did say that they will be putting up website video tutorials on how to do the flying and dogfighting and so forth, which I think they're just trying to find time to do. They've obviously got lots to do at the moment. So the next question had to do with controllers and with ships that have got multiple engines. A lot of controllers have multiple throttle inputs, where you hopefully you'll be able to control one engine, like the M50 has 2 thrusters. So can you control one and the other separately? He basically referred it to, well, the way Chris Roberts explained it was that he's not 100% sure yet, but the system should allow it. It won't be version 1, so maybe later. But the question sort of said, you know, could I use my Starfarer and thrust one side so it turns quicker than the other? And again, like I said, he's not 100% sure, but he said it should be quite simple in the system, so why not? And apparently John Pritchett and Jens are the people to do that, so get tweeting them. Let's see if we can get them thinking about it. So the next question was pretty exciting actually, and it's to do with organisation headquarters, whether or not you can have a base of operations for your organisation. And they also asked whether or not you could build maybe space stations. Now he did say that you're not going to be able to create space stations V1, maybe later on down the line it'll be possible, but by way of organisations headquarters, he says there's definitely going to be real estate and persistent areas in space, for example like factories or an asteroid base where you can buy. So there is going to be real estate, which is really cool. You can get a little empire of buildings and factories and stuff. He did mention that derelict space stations, as if you're an organisation or a group, there's no reason why you can't take them over in a way. I don't know if he mentioned too much about rebuilding them, but create them into your organisation headquarters. If you find a space station in space that's derelict, you can go in, remove what's in there, which will be a good game mechanic in itself, and then just post that as your organisation headquarters. He did say that eventually there will be planet guild halls to be bought for organisations, planet side. So I think there will be, and hopefully they can be quite large and hold quite a few people. I don't know how the persistence will work for that, but we shall see. Or instances, sorry. So the next question was to do with whether or not large ships will have force fields or shields that will allow the crew to work while the cargo doors are open, allow them to work in safety, but still allowing fighters to come back in and out. Chris Roberts basically said yes, absolutely yes. The Bengal carrier has a force field. It's a task of the graphics programmers, and apparently they are working on it as we speak. So that will happen. So you can happily sit behind some, in a carrier or like in a dock area and work away while enemy ships are flying outside, and they won't be able to hit you because there'll be a force field, but your friendly fighters can come in and out to get repaired and refueled. Now the next question is a very exciting one again. It's to do with VoIP, which is voice over IP, a basic sort of chat system that they use in most games now. And whether it'll be location based, can we eavesdrop on mutinous crew on your ship, or maybe eavesdrop on traders discussing mergers or trade deals. Chris Roberts says definitely there will be the VoIP, it will be location based definitely. They said they're looking at using Fmods and WI files, which I know like Armour, a lot of their mods for sound are Fmods, so it should sound very, very good. There is a dynamic real-time filtering sound, which basically, if you're wearing a helmet, it'll change your voice, your clothes, it will make you muffled. I've done it before, it's whatever you are wearing, it will change your voice, which is excellent. So you can be talking to someone you're trying to kill in a standoff around the corner. If you hear he's got a helmet on, well, I won't go for the head then. But as well as eavesdropping go on crew, they shouldn't be so stupid as to speak ill about you on your ship, because you may be able to hear them. Whether or not that's only because they're on your friends list and you're in team chat, I don't know how that'll work. I'd really hope there isn't just team chat, because I find a lot of games, they're all in a team chat, so you can't hear what they're saying. You could sit outside a building, say like on Battlefield, and hear what they're actually planning on doing inside, but you can't because they're in team chat and they're on the opposite team and so forth. It would be really good if they could introduce that sort of thing into the games. But there is going to be an info trader mechanic, so somehow there will be a way to eavesdrop on NPCs. I don't think they've really figured it out yet, but it should be coming soon when it comes to the mechanics. We've heard about the salvage mechanic last week. I want to hear about this one as well. So the question after that was to do with mining and whether or not we can refine our own raw materials. So if we mine something, can we refine it ourselves, or do we have to pay an NPC or a factory or someone else to do it for us? And you're going to be able to basically, and Chris Roberts says you're going to be able to refine the raw materials yourself. He says players or organisations can own specialist refinery ships, another new ship in the pipeline, or nodes in an asteroid field or on planet where you can obviously take it to get it refined or do it out in space. He did say you could own it, you could own your own chain. So a player or a group of players or an organisation can own a chain where they mine it themselves, they refine it themselves, and then they sell it. A full economy process. So he said that he wants the focus not only to just be combat of Star Citizen, he wants it to be very much economy based as well. And he'd mentioned things like embracing multiple roles, things that encourage people to play cooperatively. So I don't know what that would be, but there'll be certain ways for him to do that. Also, he mentioned you could own a refueling operation where you and your friends own a starfare and you go and collect gas from a gas giant, and then you can refine it and then sell it as thruster boost fuel. Would that be some sort of NOS? Is there going to be more types of fuel that you can produce or use? Can you create your own super fuel that you have discovered and then you make all the money from it? There's a lot to this that seems to be hidden away in Chris Roberts' minds that hopefully we'll get to see soon. And the final question was about gambling in the persistent universe, for example, high-stakes poker. Now the answer was that there will be a Las Vegas equivalent or in the UEE, gambling with UEE cash that you've earned. So there will be some sort of betting games. He doesn't see why poker won't be one of them. It's not going to be version 1 of the persistent universe, but it will be coming down. And he also mentioned that certain areas there will be like gambling dens in seedy areas. And he also mentioned you could get mugged. So we're going to have to watch our backs in this persistent universe, I think. But that was 10 for the chairman. Let's see what's up next. So on Around the Verse episode 16, again Sandy Gardner and Ben Lesnick, they started talking about Phase 2 of the leaderboards and the new functionalities, new modes, new data, controls for targeting and receiving receiving improvements, and joystick dead zones. Now all these things will be covered when I talk about the patches. There's new patches that have come out, as I've said. Also there's going to be a visor hood holo panel, which is now being optimized to create a new look. which is very exciting. So for news around the verse, the Squadron 42, they've been working on 0G when you leave your ship. So in the main campaign, you're going to have to leave your ship and explore EVA style, which will be very interesting. I'm not sure how they're going to put that into the game. Hopefully it'll be you go to the Shuban mining base and you've got to have a look at a ship that's been left there, maybe a Vandal ship or who knows. I don't know what the main story is about, but sounds very exciting, does that? There's going to be a looting and pour prototypes. Now, we know what looting is. Maybe it's to do with when they're checking bodies, dead bodies, but pour, P-A-W, no one seemed to know what that was, not even Ben or Sandy, so we'll have to figure that one out, I think. And also, I'll put up a picture now of the concept for one of the drone props. Now, so many moons ago, back during the stretch goal of 4.5 million, it was said that we would have a repair bot for our hangars if we backed before then, and they've just put up the picture now showing the concept for this repair bot, which is very cool. And there's supposed to be lots of new different props, like it says the concepting for all different types of drones, so who knows what else we'll see, but there'll be some useful inventions, I reckon. So they're working on the NPC AI, which is including the vandal graffitiing and beggars and barmen. There's tarpaulins now going on the cargo containers. Oh, how exciting that'll be. In the ships area, the Carrick, its bridge and exterior is still being concepted. Almost getting there, I suppose. Mustang variants are complete. Now, back on around the verse, it was said that the 2 variants are model complete, but with this latest monthly report, it sounds like they're all pretty much done, so that's good. And it also mentions that we'll be seeing other variants, so obviously we've got the Racer and we've got the Standard. It'd be very cool to see what other variants of the Mustang there will be. And the animation for the Mustang Omega, which is the AMD variant, where if you buy a certain AMD graphics card, you will get this as a gift, is being completed. Now, they had a new section called Writer's Corner, which featured David Haddock and Will. I'm not sure, I can't remember his surname. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, to be honest. And these are the 2 people who write fiction for Star Citizen. So all the lore, the LORE lore that is created, it's from these 2 guys. And it's just basically them sitting down and talking about how they, the nitty-gritty of getting the experience for the player in the persistent universe, and all these epic stories and smaller personal stories and things like that, and just how they come up with all the ideas. If you're interested in doing some writing for Star Citizen, it's definitely worth checking out and listening to what they have to say, because they enjoy working with the community, as it helps them with imagination and stuff. So, get involved with it, and if you want to write something, write it, get it up there. Now, the most valuable post, the MVP, an interesting one from Chamwow, which is a fictional trademark infringement on Omega Corp, and it sounds like Star Citizen people are going to start creating this fictional battle between them. A lovely little piece. I'll put a link in the description, so check it out if you're interested. Bug Smashers was to do with teleportation and the IFCS. I wish I had as much knowledge as Mark Bent does for technology, I really do. And the interview was with a man called Elwyn Batchelor, which, back in the days of the Next Great Starship, Skyguard, who was one of the people who was creating a ship, he is now working with Star Citizen. And they also mentioned there may be a couple of others, but they can't give it away yet, apparently. So it's nice to know that they are really involving the community and these people, these very talented people who created these things, for us all to see and help with the project. And finally, the sneak peek was the cargo boxes. Wonderful. So yeah, you get to see some of the cargo boxes, but you also get to see the UEE Banshee, which is looking amazing. It does look like a smaller version maybe of the Idris. It's got a very similar concept to it, but it is impressive, really cool looking. So that was it for the Around the Verse, and he did say that there will be no show next week as it's CitizenCon, but don't be upset, because I'm sure that'll be much better and far more new interesting things coming into light there. So we've had the monthly report for September 2014, and starting in Santa Monica, I'll just give a brief rundown of what's been going on. The Santa Monica area, the main focus has been the Arena Commander and bug fixing since we've had the new update. It's just been non-stop for those guys. They've also improved the ship development pipeline, and I'll put a little image of what they put up for this, and it just shows you the basics of how they break down how the ship development is going, and this will allow ships to be developed really quickly and very efficiently. It's also been moved, has this, from Austin to LA, so Chris Roberts can be on hand and giving instructions on how to do it rather than having to travel back and forth, you know, with emails and obviously time zones. So we should see a flux of ships coming much quicker than they were before. Now, they're also preparing for CitizenCon and PAX Australia. We will get to see sneak peeks soon, but I know they mentioned that there will be. They also mentioned that the M50 commercial, which was a take on Top Gear, was also mentioned on the official Top Gear website, which is brilliant, getting the word out there, you know. And also, with obviously as we expand ever further and get more funding, they are hiring and interviewing 3D artists, concept artists, lighting artists, technical animators, technical designers, program. The list goes on and on. If you are one of these people and you want to work on this project, get your CV handed in. Don't be afraid of it. You never know. You might be working with them somewhere down the line. You don't even have to be in LA or Austin. You can work from home. Maybe a bit of freelance work. So in engineering, they're working on the new HUD and some new features, which will include targeting modes, and they call it the ability to stay on target, which will improve aiming with gimbaled weapon and fixed weapons. That'll be nice, because I know I'm having trouble with my Aurora. I'm hoping it's not going to stay like that because I cannot shoot for shit. There's a new painting tool for ships that will make it very quick for them to come up with new variants. And apparently this is going to be the tool that the community will get their hands on for when they want to, I don't know, maybe create mods or paint their ships. So we should be able to play around with that. They've also improved functionality for gimbaled weapons when using joysticks, HOTAS and gamepads as well. So it should be a lot easier. And as we've seen in previous letters from the chairman, the stretch goals, they had a whole list of different weapons that they are bringing out, and it mentions that they're designing a lot more weapons, a lot more items that will further diversify the strategies for players. So there may be some more strategic movements you can do with certain aspects of ship parts, not always just weapons. Now, something else they mentioned which is exciting, for me anyway, is some new Arena Commander game modes that are going to be less focused on dogfighting and better suited to gameplay. It says they're going to take advantage of ships like the Aurora, which are not good dogfighting ships, but they'll have a bit more cargo capacity. Now, I don't know how that will incorporate into a game mode, but I'm looking forward to this, because when I go up ahead against Hornets and 300s, I am just garbage, like cannon fodder for them, literally. I spend most of my time trying to run away from people, so I'm hoping this will help me with a bit more in-depth gameplay, really. Now, they've also done the full Mustang lineup and the full Cutlass lineup variants. They are completed, and I didn't even realise they were getting Cutlass lineups. That's going to be awesome. I love the Cutlass, and I think if I was going to buy a ship, it would be that. Well, I'll have to wait till in the game, because I'm not going to buy it without being in the game. I can't afford it. And they've also started on the variants for the Avenger, the Herald and the Redeemer, plus a few others, so we're going to see a lot of new ships coming soon. Now, it was mentioned that in Cloud Imperium in Austin, they have started work on the Large World Phase 1, which is the first step, and this is quoted, to a truly expansive galaxies which will literally take days to traverse without quantum travel. So if you have like an M50, you can still, you know, if you can't jump with it, you can still fly to a certain place, but it would take you days, literally days, to get there, which I don't know if you would bother, to be honest. I'd probably hitch a ride with an Idris or something. There also seems to be a big drive now for AI. I assume it's with the FPS and module nearing and them having to show off at PAX. They're called an objective-orientated NPC system, which is basically like a data-driven design which allows NPC population to go about their daily schedules and react based upon what's happening in the surrounding environment. So if some explosion or gunfire goes off, they're not just going to stand there like wallies looking around as if nothing was happening, which will really help with the immersion of the game. And on the design side at Cloud Imperium Austin, they're looking into space phenomena and what unusual encounters that may occur in space that we can bring into the game. For example, dark nebulas, pulsars, ice giants. I mean, I don't even know what any of these are, but they're going to feature in the game as, you know, if you're travelling through space and you see a nebula, you can go and have a look at it. I don't know if that would be wise, because I'm not really sure what one is. They're also developing corporation reputations, so we will have like big giant corporations that will be quite deeming and, you know, a bit scary with them being such huge corporations, and then you get your little smaller corporations. So it's good to have this reputation because it makes it more realistic in the world. You know, you believe that a certain corporation is powerful. Now, apparently the first planetside location, which is called ArtCorp, which we saw in one of the planetside art features, is complete. and they're starting on the 2nd, which is Terra Prime, and that's in concept stage at the moment. So they're building these planet-side locations. I mean, they've got a lot. The stretch goals reached, I don't know, 400, was it? 400 planet-side locations? Christ. Character locomotion is being improved as well, so they're not going to run like they do in Arena Commander. They're going to have, you know, I expect with the FPS as well, it's going to be a lot more realistic, a lot more believable, really. And also, they're going to feature ragdoll effects, which is brilliant. Ragdoll's always a good laugh. So at Foundry 42 in England, who are working on the Squadron 42, they have been working with the Starfarer. The white box is passed, and it apparently has 2 rear belly turrets. As they said, it's a bit overpowered at the moment, but every ship they mention in Foundry 42 that they're working on, I'm assuming we'll probably see that in the main player sort of campaign, which will be interesting. So it sounds like the Starfarer, maybe a military variant, will be seen in the campaign. Or maybe you're supposed to go out and protect a refueling Starfarer, maybe a civilian one, who knows. Now they're also grey boxing more of the levels, so we've got the first so many levels complete in grey boxing and they're ready to be played, but they're doing more now because there's going to be a big mocap shoot after Christmas, so that'll really get down and gritty with the main player campaign. It's also mentioned that they've started white boxing sort of player bases and homes for Squadron 42, so it would be very nice if you have your own little, I don't know, place to stay, place to live, where you can, you know, you sit around until you get a call and you're needed on the ship. So I'm liking that, and that'll probably transverse into the PU as well. And it's also been said that they're going to have photorealistic characters for Squadron 42 in the Persistent universe, which is keeping up with this AAA rated game. Also, the Gladius is pretty much ready for hangars. The Gladiator is getting its exterior PBR'd, and the Vandal fleet is in production for the storyline, which apparently we'll see next month, or information on it next month. Now, we keep hearing about the Shuban mining facility, and it's apparently called Archon, or Archon, and its grey boxing is complete, and apparently it has 26 landing pads, which can all be landed on. It's going to be huge! But apparently now they're wrapping up the interior, so I'm hoping we'll be able to see some of that, maybe have a walk around or a little sneak peek of that. They mentioned the Starfarer's interior is also being worked out, and they also said that the interior for the Jeanne transport ship is taking shape. I didn't even realise there was going to be a Jeanne transport ship. That's big news! They just drop it in there like it's nothing. They're defining the UE crew costumes as well, and audio is being paired with the FPS, so the guns and the gadgets and everything sounds appropriate. Now the guys at Behaviour, they're started to block out some planet-side locations. There's new add-on rooms being brainstormed for the hangars, which I'm looking forward to that. I mean, that's all we can really do at the moment. I'd love to just hang around my hangar and put on the jukebox and listen to Avenged Sevenfold. It'll be awesome. Something very cool is they've kicked off the MobiGlas development, which that's the control panel you have on your arm, like a mobile phone, but it's on your arm so you can access it quick. And it says they're going to have apps for this, and the names they've given, they didn't specify what they are, but I'm sure we can guess. There's MobiGlas Home, Easy Shop, which I assume is a shopping app, Wear, W-E-A-R, which I assume will be a clothing, maybe inventory shopping app. Skyline is another name for another one, and I would have thought that would be like a GPS style app. And then Scheduler, which is like a diary. I would have thought so anyway. It's not confirmed what they are, but the names kind of give it away. It'll be like a diary, and you're telling you what your tasks are and what missions you've got. So that's going to be interesting. I hope you can get new different variant models, like when the iPhone comes out, you can all queue up and get it. I hope you don't do that, I'm joking. So the FPS team redacted. I mean, you can find names on there. I won't give it away what it's called, but you can find it eventually. They're apparently, obviously, getting ready for PAX Australia. They're creating rooms for the FPS module, which sounds like it's going to be happening around the same time. I'm hoping it's going to be released around the same time as PAX Australia, because that's very close. They're creating destructible objects, which make the weapons seem realistic, so if you shoot something, it'll explode. But they're getting it balanced. They're not making it so they're overpowered, obviously. And finally, Moon Collider, who are responsible for the AI. They're making sure that the AI don't just do your specific tasks that they've been given, but they do tasks that are more realistic to themselves. So if you haven't given them a task, they'll get on with their life. And also, they can now hear, can the AI. So if they hear gunfire, footsteps, etc., they'll come running, or they'll go running off, you know. So it's coming together lovely. So that's it for the monthly report of September. Let's move on to the next section. So again, already we have had another letter from the chairman with reaching 55 million. These stretch goals are being annihilated, they really are. He starts off by just mentioning how far we've come since the initial $2 million Kickstarter goal. He's so grateful and explaining how great it is and how many people say to him, are you going to, you're making so much profit and stuff, and he says it's not profit, it's all going into the game. He starts talking about the Aegis Reclaimer and how it mentioned it can carry a connie's worth of scrap metal. Now they mentioned that the Bengal carrier weighs around 1,400 times a Constellation, so it would take obviously 1,400 reclaimers to clear away a Bengal carrier. That's how much it would take, and they've said that they have sold 3 times the amount it would take of reclaimers. That was when he posted this, and that brings the total to about 4,200 reclaimers, which is insane. That's so many reclaimers we're going to see in space. But I expect there'll be more than that now with it of, that was about 3 or 4 days ago. Now, for the 55 million, we all received Gatling guns. Very exciting. But for the next one, the upcoming 56 million, which, as we speak right now, this is evening time of Sunday, we are currently at 55,993,855. So that is one hell of a step up, it really is. For that, we are going to see the next series of, or the next wave, wave 4 of ships. So he's put up a little part of what you would like to see, and the first one is search and rescue ship. The one after that is a passenger liner transport ship. I mean, I'd love to be in that, just being taken from place to place. So cool. A boarding or assault ship, a repair ship. I mean, if I had a repair ship, I'd probably tag along with like a trading caravan, and just everyone you meet, they might be like, oh yeah, actually you can fix this up, good idea. Mine layer or mine sweeper, which will diversify again the combat. And you could lay a trap for someone if you can channel a group of enemy to go that way. A salvage tug, a recon craft, and the winning one so far, which looks like it's going to take precedence, is science or hospital ship. That'll be awesome. If you get injured, you'll be on the ship, and then you have to get transport to your home planet, or to get onto another fighter ship. Then there was a third starter ship or a deep space fighter. So we'll see what happens there. Some of them sound very exciting, and I can't wait to see the ideas Chris Roberts has for these ships. So also this week they released patch version 0.9.1, which includes SLI and crossfire fixes. Also, it contains customizable key bindings, as we know, and it supports the keyboard, the mouse, the gamepad and joysticks and HOTAS, everything. So you should be fine to go in and choose what you want for the setup. It also allows you to choose the ship you want to appear in your hangar. So if you've got multiple ships and it can't display them all, you can choose which ones you want to see. So later on there was also a patch release for version 0.9.1.1 which it updates the leaderboard, so private matches won't affect it. So you can go in there and just let your teammate practice killing you, and you won't lose out on that, and he won't suddenly skyrocket in the leaderboards. And also ComStab has been refined to make it a little more as it was intended to be. So for all you subscribers out there, there's a new jump point. It shows you the development of the Gladius. They visit the null system, and it also explains the history of Squadron 36. And it also shows you the making of for the multi-crew demo which we saw at Gamescom. There's a new in-fiction post called Clean Shot, which I've not read yet, and same goes for the Galactic Guide, which is based on the Murray Cup. It just explains the origin, I would have thought. I've not read it again, but there's a little image, I'll put it up now, and it's the trophy, and even that looks like it's been PBR'd. It's insane, look at it! I'd love to win that. And finally, the Law Builder number 16, called B&B, which is all about legislative branches of the UEE, different departments to handle certain offices, etc. So things like trading cargo and sanitization and so on, which is, I mean, it's great to be involved in a project like this where you can create the lore and the history of the game. There's no other game where you can do that. Right, so that's it for Star Citizen Sunday this week. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe for future Star Citizen videos, and drop me a comment if you have anything to say. Like the video if you did, and I'll see you in the verse.